Hey guys, welcome back to Eva the Reader. Today I'm going to be doing a bookshelf tour, how I annotate what I'm currently reading, and just a little reading vlog. I started reading about 2 years ago in about August of 2022. Last year I struggled a little bit with reading because I wasn't a full young adult yet, so I didn't really know what to read because I was reading little books like Wish, Genius Files, you know, those like middle grade books, and they didn't really get me into much reading until I met fantasy. One of the books that really got me into reading last year was the Keeper of the Lost Cities series. This book was a basic middle grade book, and I never really finished this series. I'm in the middle of the 4th book, but I kind of did that like in summer last year, and I haven't finished it since. But I'll probably go back to it someday. This book was so good. I absolutely loved this book, and it really helped my reading get along. But now that I can read older books, I'm enjoying books way more. Let's get on to the bookshelf tour. Alright guys, my favorite shelf is probably the first shelf. We start over here with my favorite books that I've literally ever read. They are so good. They're by Rebecca Ross. I've actually met her twice, and I think I said that in the last video. But I read both of those books in one day, so that's great. I have another Rebecca Ross book, so I keep my favorite authors really up here. We have the Folk of the Air trilogy. I loved this series. I totally recommend it. I would recommend it for maybe 13 to 14 plus. There was a bit of spice that I was not aware of. So yeah, but I would recommend that for a little bit of older young adults. We have the Legends and Lattes duology. I'm so excited to read this in the fall for a cozy fantasy so I can get into the fall mood. I also have up here, I don't know if y'all can see it, I actually got this book in a blind date. It's What We Harvest. It's a thriller book, and so I'm going to save this for about the end of the year. I also have the Caraval trilogy. I read this trilogy last year, and I absolutely loved it. I would definitely recommend it for 12 plus. It's really not that bad, and I really loved that trilogy. I also have the Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm scared to read it because everyone says that it's so good, and I don't know why I'm scared to read it. So I'm still thinking about reading that one, and yeah. Then I have the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I actually read this whole trilogy in a week and a half, and I love it. I have the Six of Crows. I never read Crooked Kingdom, but I will probably get it from my library or on my Kindle soon. I have the Legend trilogy. I haven't started it yet, but I hopefully will this year. I also have the Maze Runner duology. Well, there's more books, but I have 2 of them. I have the Maze Runner and the Scorched Trials, so I'll hopefully get onto that series this year too. I also have all the Hunger Games books. They're not all in the same cover form, but my favorite one was definitely The Battle of Summer and Snakes. I don't know what it was, but that one really just blew me away. Alright, let's get on to the second shelf. Alright, so over here we start with the Keeper of the Lost City books. I have 1 through 5. I got into the middle of the 4th book, like I said earlier, and I haven't read it since, but I will hopefully get back onto that track either this year or next year. I have Divergent, so I have all the young adult dystopian, so I'll hopefully get to reading that too. I have To Kill a Kingdom. I think this is just a standalone. I know there are a couple more books, but people say that it's not really necessary. I have The Prison Healer and the Daughter of the Pirate King. I've heard so many good things about this, especially from Jet's Bookhaven. I'll put her picture right here. I love her videos. So that's that part. I have Defy the Night, which I actually just finished reading, and I loved it. I also read the second one in a full day, as y'all saw in my sick vlog video, and now I'm actually on to the 3rd book. I am 72 pages in, and I'm already loving it. We have The Finisher by David Baldacci. I don't know if y'all are familiar with this book, but this is David Baldacci usually writes for adults because we met him, and then I was like, I need to find a young adult by him, and he has this called The Finisher, so I'm very excited for this. Also have Dune because Dune Part 2 is coming out in theaters, so I want to maybe read it before it comes out in theaters. I don't know. This is a pretty thick book, so I'll think about it, but I don't know. It's a really long, thick book, and the text is super tiny. It kind of reminds me of a textbook, but I will hopefully like it because I love science fiction. I have Scythe, which I'm very excited to read. It also came out during like the dystopian young adult era. I have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I'll hopefully read that trilogy. These are all books that I really want to read this year. But I also have The Naturals. Literally so good. I need the rest of the books for this. I know it's like you don't have to read them in order or anything, but I'm so excited to keep going with this series because I love like the murder mystery, like Criminal Minds kind of feel to it. Like I literally love this book. I also have 3 books by Marissa Meyer right here. I have Cinder, Renegades, and Heartless. I've actually read Renegades like y'all saw in the last reading vlog. I tabbed it all. Yeah, it was so good. And my mom has actually listened to Cinder, and I will hopefully read that soon. I have Almost There, which is a Twisted Tale book. I'm also currently reading As Old as Time. So this one's good. I'm about halfway and it's really good. So I definitely recommend those as a quick, easy read. Up here we have 3 books. We have Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. I'm so happy that he makes young adult because I've always wanted to read Brandon Sanderson. Like ever since I started reading, I literally have always wanted to read his books so I can get into the high fantasy. I have Ash Princess, which I found at a used bookstore, and now I'm very intrigued. And then I have Fireborn, which I actually found a recommendation for if you liked Fourth Wing, you should like this, but I can't read Fourth Wing yet, and they said that this one is around like 12 plus, so that will be good for me. That is this shelf, and I absolutely love it. We're down to the last shelf. I'm hopefully going to get more shelves in the future, but I have 3 books. Other books that can't fit on my shelf, so I'm going to quickly go through those. I have the Shatter Me book. I'm so excited. I really want to start this year because I've heard it is amazing. I am so excited to start this. I also have The Red Queen, which I think is just like, I don't know what this one's about, but I've heard lots of good things, and this went very viral at like the beginning of book talk. I also have Twilight because why wouldn't I? It's such a classic, and yeah. So those don't fit on my shelf, but hopefully I will get more shelves in the future. Alright, now to the bottom row. This is more like middle grade books, which I mean I still love middle grade books, like don't get me wrong. So I put like this is kind of best, second best, and like still not bad, but still not like, oh my goodness, like I'm so excited. So I start over here with Millie Bobby Brown's book. I got this signed actually. This is probably the one of the most exciting things that happened like last year. Here it says Millie Bobby Brown, and I literally am so excited to read a historical fiction book. I also have in that kind of like category, I have the Stranger Things book. I actually got this for $8 at a used bookstore. I have some historical fictions. I have Rescue. I have The Night. These are actually 2 advanced copies. I have The Night War, which is coming out in April of this year. And I have Trajectory, which is coming in April. So I have 2 nonfiction books, or historical fiction, which I really enjoy reading. The rest of my advanced copies, I actually kind of want to go through these. I have Prom Chanted, which is like a Disney like romance, but like not like romance, you know? I don't know if y'all know what that means. It's coming out in March 24th, which is actually one of my old friend's birthdays, so that's kind of exciting. I have Keeper the Rend. I'm probably the most excited for this one. This one looks almost exactly like Ruin and Rising because there's like a bird and there's orange and like blue on the cover. So it's definitely giving Ruin and Rising. I also have Daughters of the Lamp, and it says that Percy Jackson beats Arabian fairy tales, like that's like the clash, which I'm actually so excited for. So this one comes out in February, so I'll probably read this before February so I can like really like actually, you know, get to know it. So it doesn't say what day exactly it's coming out, but I think y'all can check on Goodreads if you're interested. And I also have The Smoke That Thunders. I am so excited for this one. This one really interests me. It comes out in April, so in March I'll actually have kind of a lot of reading because there's a lot of these books that come out in April, but I don't know if I'll get to read all of them, but I will try my best. Alright, up here I have The False Prince, I have The Unwanted, and the Fallen Kingdom series. I have another thriller book right here. This is Shadow Weaver. It's just like a middle grade thriller. I have When You Trap a Tiger. This was one of the first books that I read last year, and I absolutely loved it. This was my favorite book that I read in 2022. It was Hide and Seeker. This is such a good thriller. It actually like kept me on my toes the entire time. This is actually one of my favorite books that I've ever read, and I'll hopefully get to read more thrillers like this because this book was so good. So if y'all are a little bit younger and want a thriller, or even if you're older, you would love this book. I absolutely loved this book. Like, I didn't want to put it down, but I also wanted to read it slower so I wouldn't have to like lose it so quickly. Like, I read it from November through like December, so I really wanted to keep this going on forever. I love that book. I have Pax, which is a cute and like sad, like, I don't know. We have The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and we have The Holiday Switch, which is one of the Christmas books that I read this year. I have, this one kind of comes with a story with it. I have Ender's Shadow, and I never marked this on like YouTube, but I read Ender's Game and I loved it, and I read the second one and I hated it. I really didn't like it because it's not really about Ender. So one of my dad's friends recommended reading Ender's Shadow because it's more about Ender. So I'm very excited about that. I have The School of Good and Evil, and I have his Dark Materials book 1, which is called Golden Compass, and I have A Night Divided by one of my other favorite authors, Jennifer Nielsen. The last book that is on my shelf is The Land of Stories. This is a like really cool, like, it's fantasy. It's kind of like Alice in Wonderland, but like with more fantasy to it. So I'll hopefully get to read those like as a quick read because they seem pretty quick. That was my bookshelf tour, and I'm gonna tell y'all how I annotate. I got these amazing tabs off Amazon, and I hope that y'all will please get these because they are so good for tabbing. This is not sponsored, but they are so good. I absolutely love these tabs. In the last video, y'all saw that I read Renegades, and I tabbed it. When I tab in my books, I have a key. I put sad, plot, happy, love, and like LOL and OMG moments. So here's what that looks like. I don't think it's like perfect, but I give it 4.25, and throughout this book I tabbed all of these moments, and so it was great. In total, I ran out of most of the tabs because there weren't a ton, but I got lots of tabbing done, and I've definitely reread some stuff. So that's what I tabbed. This was really quick, but yeah. I really hope y'all enjoyed this reading vlog, and I hope that y'all will consider subscribing because I love making these kind of videos for you. I will try to be posting every weekend, but I'm in a musical right now and it's getting really busy because I'm playing the lead. Actually, I'm playing Cat in the Hat, which is very exciting, but that will probably take up a lot of my time, so I'm sorry if I don't post as much, but I will try my best to do what I can. I hope you'll have a great weekend or like week, and the end of I hope y'all have a good semester at school. Hopefully see y'all in one of my shorts or next weekend. Bye!